everybody, John McClellan here, ATX Hot Sauce, atxhotsauce.com. Welcome back to our channel. For all of our new viewers, welcome. This is a channel about making hot sauce, fermented hot sauces. Check out some of our older videos if you'd like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button right down below. And today, we're going to be making one of my favorite sauces, one of the best ones that we put out there, one of our favorites of everybody. It's called the Big Red. All right, guys, let's get to making the Big Red, right? One of my favorite sauces. We've had this ferment going for about a month and a half. Pretty good timing on it. Remember, your fermentation, the majority of it starts within probably the first 15 days is when it gets going. After that, it's just kind of a slow burn of that fermentation dough. After 15 days is fine. I like to do mine as long as possible, but I get very curious. After a month and a half, I have to delve in and see what's going on with it. You've probably seen me in our other videos, if you watch some of them, talk about the book here. We've made over 150 different batches, from this size to mason jar size to big giant 5-gallon buckets. When you're making a bunch of sauces, making these fermentations, you don't remember really what you put in there after a couple of months, right? So my recommendation is to have a book like we have right here, and you write everything down, exact ingredients, the date you make it, what did you add to it when you're making the sauce. And we're gonna go back on this one. This was actually 147, which was made in the beginning of July, right? So it's been about a month and a half on the fermentation, and we're gonna go through this today. It has red Fresnos, red habaneros, some fresh ginger, a green bell pepper, 1 tablespoon of garlic that was roasted actually before we put in there, and some garlic cloves also. And we're going to add to it 3 cups of brine, which I have right here. We've got a cup of water, and then my secret ingredient for the Big Red, which we started adding in the last couple of batches. I have this mash of super hot peppers that it's been going for about 3 or 4 months now. We're going to use, I don't know, probably 4 tablespoons of this super hot mash. It has Carolina Reapers in it. It has scorpion peppers, all kinds of just really good, flavorful, hot, spicy peppers. Always have the book. Have it available too. Make sure you write in it when you make your sauce so you know what you added to it afterwards. Keep your dates on there. All right, so let's get to making this Big Red. The first thing you want to do is a smell test, right? So be careful with this, especially with some of those super hots. Remember, this has red Fresnos and red habaneros. Red Fresno, a little bit on the milder side. The red habaneros, they're spicy, right? But not super spicy, but they are spicy. First thing you want to do is check out for any mold. We don't have any mold. I do have a little bit of some comm yeast on here. That's perfectly fine. You can leave it in or take it out as much as you want, but you want to give it the smell test. It smells good. It's a little sour to the smell, but that's what you want. You don't want a bad taste, and you definitely don't want any mold growing in there. If you see any growth, like hairy stuff growing in there, or black stuff, just chunk the whole thing. This one actually looks fantastic. So the first thing I like to do is we're gonna take a pot and we're gonna strain out all the fruits and vegetables out of here into here and reserve the brine. And then we're gonna test the brine for the pH, right? We're looking for about a 3.2 to 3.4 on the pH meter, which means the sauce is gonna be shelf stable moving forward, right? So let's take this. This is our brine, been going for about a month and a half. Look at the color of that brine. We may run out of room here, and that's just perfectly fine if we do. I'm just trying to get all that brine out, or the majority of it. All right, so we're gonna take this now, and we're gonna put it in our blender. And we're gonna put all these in here. Let's dump that whole thing in. All right, we're gonna put this aside because I'm gonna use it here in just a minute. All right, so we still got stuff we're gonna add here. Don't be afraid to make a little bit of a mess, right? It's not a party unless it's a mess. It's not good food unless you made a mess making it. All right, so let's add this good stuff in here. Let it drip out just a little bit more. Recommend wearing gloves when you're doing this. All right, so let's take this and put it aside. So first thing I want to do, I'm going to check the pH on this, right? These pH meters, you can get them anywhere. Amazon.com is probably the best place to get it. Don't go super cheap on it, but mid-level. Probably spend 30, 40 bucks on something like this. Make sure you recalibrate it every month or so, maybe sooner the more you use it. And make sure that you keep the tip moist. That's why they have this cap here, and there's this holding solution you can get for these. You just put a little bit of the holding solution in and always store it straight up like that, because what happens is if you don't put the storage solution, don't put anything on there or lay it on its side, the sensor dries out and doesn't work anymore. So we don't want that, right? So we're going to very carefully take this off, turn the pH meter on, and what do we got here? Let's get it going. So that's one. All right, let's get it in this brine. Let's see what we got here. Remember, I was looking for about 3.4, 3.2, 3.4. That's actually very acidic, going to be very shelf stable even after we add some of the other stuff we're going to do. We're actually adding some vinegar to this, so it actually may lower that down there. Yep, 3.4. I think that's very safe, very good, very doable. Make sure you wash it off, make sure you store it back up, make sure you stand it up so it doesn't dry out. All right, we've got our brine, we got our fruits and vegetables all in here, so let's give this a cursory blend, get some of those things going in there first before we add any of the brine in there. Love this blender. Check out one of our other videos when we're talking about the different equipment that we use. This is one of the newer parts of the equation that we have now. This blender will actually pulverize everything, take all the pulp out, make it a real creamy, and actually pasteurize too, which we're going to show you here in just a few minutes. I mean, look at that color right there. We haven't even added any of the brine to this yet. I can already tell that I'm going to have to get another container to hold some of this, because I'm going to be adding 3 cups of brine, 1 cup of water, and 2 cups of apple cider to this, along with these this super hot mash right here. So it's going to fill this up. So I'm going to get a container here. So hang on one second. All right, we've taken all the brine and reserved this to the side. Remember, we're going to use about 3 cups of this or so inside this mash that we've now created here, this fermentation. Emptied out this pot. By adding all these extra liquids, it's going to fill this up, and I really don't want this to be filled up. What happens during the pasteurization process or the heating up process to stop that fermentation, the liquid is going to expand because of the heat. So we're going to reserve about half of this back into this bowl and set it aside for a few minutes. So let's go ahead and do that. Be careful when you do this, because guess what's going to happen? It's going to splatter. One thing you don't want is anything in your face, or in your eyes for that matter, especially if you wear contacts. My good friend Kelly knows all about that. All right, so let's go ahead and start the blender back up again, and we're going to add some of these ingredients. Okay, remember we got a cup of water, so I'm going to put a half a cup of water in this one because we've reserved the other side out. Okay. Things moving around a little bit on me, that's okay. All right, we got 2 cups of vinegar. I'm going to add 1 cup to this. Don't need to be exact because we're going to combine this stuff all together anyway. All right. All right, we're going to add some of our brine now to this. And that's about 1.5 cups, because we're going to reserve the other 1.5 cups for the next batch that we've got going through here.